Right now on Hoosier News Source, filling a vacancy on the City Council. Hear from 3 candidates ahead of this week's caucus.
What's next for the Kenzie Institute? What a vote at this week's Board of Trustees meetings could mean for the future of the Institute.
And celebrating body positivity, what the SRSC is doing to improve the idea of body image. Hoosier News Source starts now. Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Karlie Flanagan.
And I'm Kamellia Trewday. We are just days away from the caucus to fill a vacancy on the Bloomington City Council.
That's right, and ahead of that, the 3 candidates running to be the replacement had a chance to share their positions. As you may know, Shuti Rona, who was elected in November, resigned earlier this month to take a job in Missouri. Now, 3 candidates are vying for the seat. Former Moms Demand Action leader Courtney Daly, former Bloomington Fire Chief Jason Moore, and Jenny Stevens, who lost to Rona in May 2023 primary. All 3 answered questions on public safety, affordable housing, and many other topics. They also got the chance to introduce themselves and explain why they are running for the job.
My parents were both veterans. I was a veteran. I've moved all over the place. I've been out in the world, and for the first time in my entire life, I found a place that I didn't want to leave.
I want to be a representative that our constituents know that they can come to. I want them to know that they can come to me and they can ask me whatever questions they have and talk to me about their issues. And I will be their voice. That is something that is incredibly important to me.
I loved meeting my neighbors at their doors in their neighborhoods, listening to their concerns and their issues and their ideas for making Bloomington better. And so I'm really invested in serving in a way I wasn't before because it feels personal now to me. It feels like I'm really representing them.
The caucus begins at 1 on Saturday in City Council chambers at City Hall. There were so many other topics that were discussed during the forum, and we have it up for you right now on this story on IUSTV.com.
The IU Board of Trustees are set to vote on Friday on whether to separate the Kenzie Institute from the university. The meeting agenda shows the vote would designate the institute as a nonprofit. The trustees tabled the previous vote over the future of Kenzie at the November meeting. The Board of Trustees meets Thursday and Friday at the IU Southeast campus in New Albany. We'll keep you updated.
A Bloomington man is facing voyeurism and other misdemeanor charges after police say he was caught masturbating on someone's front porch. Police arrested Marcus Ford on Saturday morning at a home along Washington Street. A woman called police saying she saw Ford across the street peeping into windows before he put his hands into his pants. When police arrived, Ford allegedly ran off. He was released from jail 2 days later and is back in court on April 4th.
A Monroe County judge declared a guilty verdict in an attempted murder case for a 2020 stabbing. Keandre Owens was found guilty on the first day of the trial. Police say that year on the night of August 5th, a woman was found lying on a sidewalk covered in blood. First responders found the 18-year-old woman had been stabbed multiple times in the throat, abdomen, and head. She was rushed to the hospital where she told police she was stabbed by Owens. Owens checked himself into the same hospital later that night for knife wounds on his hand. He was arrested for attempted murder. A sentencing hearing is set for March 21st where he faces up to 40 years in prison.
A Bloomington man was arrested for an attempted armed robbery that allegedly occurred last week. Police say 31-year-old Michael Jackson arrived at the Atlas apartment complex after getting into contact with the 2 victims. They reportedly communicated with Jackson through Facebook, though they admitted to meeting up with him to buy marijuana. Instead, Jackson pulled out a gun and pointed it at the 2 victims before fleeing the scene. Jackson faces charges of attempted armed robbery, possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon, battery with a deadly weapon, and intimidation with a deadly weapon.
The Student Recreational Sports Center is celebrating body positivity through their Every Body Week. Everybody Week is dedicated to improving students' idea of body image. Until Saturday, the mirrors of the SRSC will be covered in positive messages. Also, special group exercise classes like glow-in-the-dark yoga will be happening. The sessions are aimed at taking the emphasis off of body image and back on having fun, says Assistant Director of Group Exercise, Katie Landrum.
So we don't want those to be only tools to change how we look, but they're tools to improve our health, our overall well-being, as well as our physical well-being.
You can look at the full list of group exercise sessions at the SRSC website.
Still to come on Hoosier News Source, big funding news from the IU School of Medicine. We have a reaction from the administration.
And the 2024 presidential race carries on. The next round of primaries now underway. Those stories and more on the other side of the break.
The annual report for the fiscal year of 2023 is now available for the IU School of Medicine, and NIH funding is the highest it has ever been. Shelby Brown has the story.
Indiana University School of Medicine is excelling every day through their hard work and has recently been recognized through funding. Grants from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, is reserved for only the most promising, innovative, and impactful science, and IU has received over $243 million in funding in the fiscal year of 2023.
What we want to be doing is the most rigorous and impactful science. So if we can sort of make it through that gauntlet, if we can make it through all of that review and then they choose to fund us, that sort of sets a standard about the quality of the research that we're supporting.
IU has rose in their ranking with the current standing of number 13 in NIH funding among all public media schools and number 29 among all schools nationally. One field of science that IU hopes to further in research with this funding is the field of neuroscience, specifically neurodegeneration. This funding has not only helped with the medical school's research, but also with creating more jobs.
Every $1 million in NIH funding, it creates 13 new jobs. So NIH funding doesn't just create good science. Doing good science means jobs.
Data from a report by United for Medical Research has shown that in the year 2022, NIH funding through IU has helped create 13 jobs. Now in the year 2023, this has helped create over 3,100 jobs.
It makes me incredibly proud to be here, and I'm proud of our faculty. No one person achieves this. We achieve this because we're a community that works together.
Funding from NIH has placed IU at the highest it has ever been ranked, and this promises future resources for upcoming research.
The fallout continues over the Alabama Supreme Court decision regarding embryos. The court ruled that embryos, whether in or out of a uterus, are children. Friday, the Alabama's Attorney General's office said there's no intention to use the state's recent Supreme Court decision to prosecute IVF, families, or providers. Several fertility clinics in Alabama have already halted certain IVF treatment programs over concerns their medical personnel could be at legal risk.
We have to act immediately and put politics to the side and address this issue once and for all, restoring the rights and the decisions back to women and their doctors, not politicians.
A bipartisan effort is now underway in the Alabama House and Senate to draft clarifying legislation that would protect in vitro fertilization treatments following the court's ruling.
Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley says she will fight on despite losing her home state of South Carolina to Donald Trump. Voters in South Carolina cast their ballots during Saturday's primary, where Trump won handily. Haley has yet to win a primary contest this election cycle. She is the only other candidate other than Trump left in the race, but she says she's not giving up.
We'll keep fighting for America, and we won't rest until America wins.
Voters in Michigan went to the polls yesterday. 15 states vote next week for Super Tuesday.
Police in Kentucky arrested a 21-year-old man after he allegedly strangled a student in his dorm room. 18-year-old Josiah Kilman was found unresponsive in his room on Saturday. 21-year-old Charles Escolara was arrested later the same day. A university spokeswoman says Escolara and Kilman were both on the school's wrestling team. Police say they don't have a motive yet.
The trial date has been set in the manslaughter case against Alec Baldwin for his role in the deadly 2021 Rust film set shooting. Jury selection starts on July 9th in New Mexico. The trial is expected to last 8 days. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was struck by a live round fired from a prop gun Baldwin was holding. Baldwin is charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Next on Hoosier News Source, a case of measles is confirmed in Indiana. We'll tell you where.
Plus, can we expect more of those warm temperatures as we round out February? We're back after this. The first case of measles has been found in Indiana for the first time in nearly 5 years. Health officials say in Lake County and northern Indiana say there is low risk to the public. Measles is a highly contagious respiratory disease that can cause fever, coughing, and rashes.
This comes as Florida health officials monitor a measles outbreak in Broward County, where there are at least 8 cases. At least 6 students at one elementary school reported contracting measles. Last week, the Florida General Surgeon has sent a controversial letter to parents allowing them to send unvaccinated children to school amid the outbreak. Health officials said the decision should be up to parents or guardians about school attendance, but some parents don't agree.
It's very stressful because you don't even know what's going. Even if they have the vaccines, maybe something happened. I don't know.
And I think the education value is still there with him returning to school. You know, we already had a massive time away from school with COVID. We didn't want to repeat that.
The CDC says unvaccinated children exposed to measles should stay home for at least 21 days.
Turning to weather now, we got blessed with 70s to close out February, but will it stick around?
Alyssa is in with the forecast. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, guys. Unfortunately, we're going to have a couple of cold days coming for us. So today's temperatures are going to come as a shock compared to what we were seeing yesterday with those sunny skies and 70-degree conditions. But unfortunately, the storm that came through tonight brought a very strong cold front that is dropping our temperatures by nearly 30 degrees just overnight. So at noon, we're seeing these pretty cloudy conditions with and those are coming from, again, just left over from the storm that came through last night. But as we work through the day, our skies eventually clear up. We're getting sunny and clear conditions, and our temperatures are sticking in the mid to low 30s as we move through the day. However, there is going to be a lot of wind, again, left over from that storm that came through last night. So our wind chill temperatures are going to be much cooler than the ones that we're seeing here. So it's definitely going to feel colder than these temperatures, and you're going to want to bundle up. Now for the game that is on Sunday at 3 p.m., women's basketball is facing Maryland here at home. Our temperatures at noon prior to game time are going to be 63. There are going to be some clouds, but it's going to be a warm, nice day. As we move towards game time, and then even after game time, we've got partly sunny conditions, and again, our temperatures throughout the day are sticking in the mid to upper 60s for most of the evening. Now, as we move into the 7-day forecast, we've got some temperatures that today, tomorrow, and Friday are all going to be a little bit colder. And on Friday, we're expecting a midday chance of rain. It's rather low chance of rain, but still could be present. And as we are moving into the weekend, we are getting some rise in temperatures in the 60s. We also are seeing partly cloudy conditions. And then even as we move further, Sunday and Monday, we're expecting nearly 70-degree temperatures, which is exactly what we want to see. But as we move Monday night, there is going to be a rainstorm that comes through, and it is going to start at Monday night and move into Tuesday and drop that high temperature on Tuesday to around 58 degrees. Back to you guys at the desk. Thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Next in sports, the IU women's basketball team secured a huge win at home over the Iowa Hawkeyes. We're back with the recap in a few.
It has been a tale of 2 different seasons for the men and women's basketball team. The men's team struggles as it heads towards the Big Ten tournament, while the women's team continues to impress. We'll start with the men. In another disappointing game, Indiana's men's basketball team lost to Penn State 83-74. The game was closely contested, with neither team leading by more than 4 points in the first 19 minutes. However, Penn State's Ace Baldwin Jr. scored 8 straight points to give the Nittany Lions a 40-32 lead with 25 seconds left in the half. Despite Indiana's cutting to the deficit to 2 points with a little more than 10 minutes remaining in the game, Penn State responded with 7 unanswered points, and Indiana never got to closer than 6 points. Indiana struggled with guard depth and shooting, which limited coach Mike Woodson's ability to make a significant impact. Woodson did emphasize that using Malik Renaud efficiently against Penn State's forward, but made questionable decisions regarding players' fouls and lineup choices. Overall, Indiana's lack of shooting and defensive struggles contributed to their 83-74 loss to Penn State. Indiana will host Wisconsin next. Indiana women's basketball team faced a crucial game against Iowa and their superstar, Caitlin Clark, last Thursday, needing a win to boost their hopes of hosting an NCAA tournament. The Hoosiers delivered, upsetting the 4th-ranked Hawkeyes 86-69 in front of a fully energized home crowd. Indiana's controlled the game, leading 43-33 at the halftime, extending their lead to 18 points in the second half before Iowa mounted a comeback. The Hoosiers maintained their composure with Mackenzie Holmes and Sarah Scalia leading the scoring charge. Holmes, honored before the game, setting IU's scoring record, scored 24 points and grabbed the 9 rebounds. Scalia led Indiana with 25 points, shooting efficiently, contributing in multiple areas.
We're able to, contain those and combat those runs, but we're going to get back. We have Northwestern and Maryland left on our schedule, so just keep building off of this and knowing that, we know we're capable of a game like this night in and night out, and we just have to build off of it.
The win improves Indiana's record to 22-4 overall and 13-3 in the Big Ten, setting up a road game against Northwestern next week.
All right, thanks, Allie.
Thank you.
And that was kind of crazy to talk about with the sports there. I'm not really big of a sports fan, but it's interesting to watch. I like seeing our Woo producers and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were there. They were cheering on the girls.
Yeah. No, I was there too. It was definitely experience, like getting there so many hours before the game to get the what's those new jerseys? They handed out the Fear God t-shirts.
Yes, I know exactly what you're
Such
talking
a cool
about.
experience to be there.
Yeah, and I know everyone was really excited to see Caitlin Clark too.
I was happy with the way it went.
So can we get one last look at the 7-day forecast, Alyssa?
Yes, definitely. So because of that storm that came through last night, we've got a little bit of some colder temperatures, especially today, but even into Thursday and Friday, with a slight chance of rain midday on Friday. But as we go into the weekend, fortunately for us, the temperatures are warming up into the mid to upper 60s, partly cloudy conditions most of the weekend. And then again, they're sticking pretty high on Monday. 69 degrees is the high, but a rain storm will come through Monday night and go into Tuesday. And temperatures will drop off a little bit on Tuesday from that rain coming through and bring in a cold front.
All right. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for telling us all about that. And thank you for watching this week's Hoosier News Source episode.
As always, be sure to follow us on social media and check out IUSTV.com to stay up to date on all the latest news, weather, and sports.
Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you back here next week.